there'll be costs, establishment costs getting paid to the contractor. Materials were ordered and are delivered. I can't tell you any specifics about the contract because it's an issue between council and the contractor, so I don't know. I do understand that the contractor has to do other work, so there'll happen a financial implication because if I were a contractor and I was expecting to do work and it's not coming, but I had the signal, I would be expecting compensation. But I can't tell you those details because that's really council, only council really knows. So I'm sure you're going to get that information later on.
Councillor Walker, please.
Just a couple of questions. Obviously, one of the significant issues going forward is the cost. You've identified that you may well make a change, and that is to have more direct involvement as compared to council. Are you in a position to recalibrate the costs around that? So that's one question. And then the other question I've got just goes to my experience with projects like this that used to occur in Rodney. For example, there was one in Warkworth where an extensive boardwalk was largely funded by the community on the basis that people bought a board. And it was remarkable how much money you were able to raise when you broke it down to a level that any number of businesses, and I'm familiar with the Rosebank Peninsula businesses, for example, might contribute. So just two quick questions there. One around recalibration of costing, and the second is around fundraising opportunities. Thanks.
So thank you. So in terms of the current issue, we can't really help for two reasons: that most funders will not fund something that's already underway. So we can help with future stages, and that's a real focus for it. But what funders have told us is, unless there's a clear commitment from council going forward, they're not interested in it. The second question about community sponsorship, that's something we're working on very hard, but it probably won't help at this stage. Our real issue is, once you decide what's going to happen, we can implement confidence to finish the project and raise the rest, help to raise the rest of the funding.
I should add that obviously the initial 4 million really came from the community via the licensing trusts themselves, but also by the two local boards. Everyone's stretched. I do sit on the Faux Local Board as a member, and we know what we're having to go to and the potential cutbacks that we're having to make anywhere. So that's a no-go zone at this stage and won't be for a while. And I will say it's no different from the local community trusts and in the licensing trusts. And we've been hammered out west with recent events, and funds are needed for really more immediate things on the ground, and therefore it's going to be hard for this project for a little while. So as Tony said, it really is the important thing is government fronting up here and council, sorry.
Can I just add to that by saying that, of course, once we've got the commitment from council to take this forward, we will go back to our community, and we do have a lot of support in the community. I keep saying that, but they will do projects like Give a Little, Fund a Board, all those sorts of projects will be able to go forward once we have some commitment to this project actually happening. And that's what we want. And we want to continue with all our plantings. Our community come along to all the plantings, and they're totally involved with the project. So I'm sure we can do some other different things to raise money. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good presentation. I've got a couple of little questions. I like things like this, and I've put them around quite a few of our harbours, and I'm deeply involved in sea cleaners, and we've cleaned a lot of the foul river up. Quite a few of your residents there aren't all that carefully with their environment already, actually, I'd have to say, which is sad. I've looked at just had a quick late entry look at the drawings. It's a very heavily designed item. It's precast concrete piles. It's pretty heavy-handed. I mean, they used to be called a boardwalk because they're made out of boards. And it's wider, it's 3 metres and 4 metres at various parts. the ones around the Bay of Islands, which are enormously popular and probably carry more. I see your numbers of people that you're expecting. There's only a cycle every 2 minutes and a pedestrian every minute, so it's not like a crowd going to Eden Park. Why is it so wide, and why wasn't it done in timber, and could that be re-examined, or is it too late?
Tony can answer the last part. Well, look, we're quite open. This is visionary. We did base it on New Plymouth, and according to Auckland Transport and Waka Kotahi, I think for active transportation funds, it does help to be going wider on certain things, and you're going to have more of a case for active transportation funding to back it. We looked at timber, but timber, the bottom line is going to be half the time because this is, as you know, in the FO. The last part, a big chunk of it, over half of it, will be actually in the water. So it's a matter of going forward. How long does that timber last as compared to concrete? And so we've tried to be pretty resilient about that. That's been an important part. And just going back to New Plymouth, you can see why that has been built as strongly as it is, because it's right on the coast all the way around, and the sea is lashing it, but it stands up. It stands up totally.
Well, perhaps you should have headed north. Two things different about New Plymouth. A, it's right in the surf zone, and B, they've got an oil industry to fund those sorts of things. In terms of timber and resilience, I partly live in a house which won't meet the council's 50-year rules, but it's 118 years old in the sea. So I'd like to have another look at see if we can't. I'd love to see this. If it was 2 metres wide and made out of timber and you got it, would that be better than having 4 metres wide in concrete and not getting it?
Well, they're valid questions. We are not involved in the detailed design, so the council and Beckers are in charge of that. What I can tell you is that the resource consent conditions require a 50-year life and also have a bearing on the design standards. But to go into the detail, we're not deeply involved, so that question will be addressed through the council officers. But look, it's valid. Let's have a look at, can we do an alternative? From our point of view, we are concerned about timber and the marine environment, the potential environmental effects. But yeah, by all means, ask the officers to have a look at it with Beckers.
I wouldn't go to Beckers. I'd look to somebody that might save money rather than spend it. But Councillor Turner and then Councillor Bartley, and then we'll let you go. But thanks for a very good thing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's kind of basically on the back of the Mayor's comments. I'd just written down here the biggest gains are to wind the project back rather than try to go to all that fundraising possible. And I was impressed with one thing, and that is taking back your own procurement roles. So I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
Yeah, through the chair, through the Mr. So yeah, the challenge is that funding is allocated to council. So going forward, we could do that. For the current stage, that funding would need to be renegotiated and sent to the trust, which raises a whole lot of legal questions. So yeah, definitely going forward, yes, for the current situation, it's probably not possible.
Councillor Bartley.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation, and good to see you again, Ross. Remember the times you keep raising this when you're sitting around this table. So I just wanted to clarify. So you're asking us, hopefully, for additional funding. If not additional funding, you're asking us not to cancel it. That's right.
Through the chair, yes. The number one issue for us, not cancelling the project, because it really means we can't go to anyone else. So everybody told us, unless the council has a skin in the game, don't come and see us.
So you need us to keep this going so that you're able to get the funding to keep it going. And what I really appreciate about your presentation, given the kick in the guts that it could be to your community, is that you're not threatening to sue us, unlike others who've sat where you've sat. So you're wanting to work together, you're wanting to keep this going, and you're coming up with your own solutions. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, thank you for that. Regardless of what happens, we want to keep the environmental aspects going. regardless of what happens, because we've built up a lot of momentum. We'd love to see the FO safe for contact recreation within 10 years. So regardless of what happens, this is our commitment.
Could I just make a closing statement, if I may, please? A lot of money have gone into this project that isn't seen. The feasibility study, the design, the final design, the resource consents. And here we are sitting out spending more money on the physical pathway. I don't believe it would be correct to spend any more money on any more designs that will, it's just a waste of more money, in my own personal opinion. We've got all that and it's ready to go.
I'll take that as your personal opinion, but I can assure you I've had I can show you lots of projects which were redesigned that saved money, but thank you for that. And thank you for your presentation, and thank councillors for their interest in it. Is anyone going to move that we receive that?
I had moved from the sidebar.
Okay. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary? Carried. I've just got to get an approval for Greg to join us, Councillor Sayers, to join us electronically. First and second in favour. Aye. Carried. Join up. We've got local board input on the same subject from the Henderson Massey board.